Don't freak out, but did you know Best Foods mayonnaise gets tested around 1,000 times a day before it even hits the store shelves? Yeah, they take quality that seriously. But how exactly is it made? And what's it made of? Stick around, you'd be shocked to find out. What you didn't know. Now you may think mayo is just some boring white spread you slap on a sandwich, but this stuff has a pretty wild journey before it lands in your fridge. Best Foods, also known as Hellmann's, on the East Coast, has a massive factory where giant machines mix, shake, and blend ingredients like a crazy cooking show on Fast Forward. The factory smells like vinegar and eggs, and the machines move faster than your little cousin on the sugar rush. It's all about speed and safety, because one small mistake can ruin thousands of jars. Before we take a deeper look at how this world-class mayo is made, hit that like button and subscribe if you're into finding out how everyday stuff is actually made. You won't believe how many secrets hide behind normal-looking products like Best Foods mayonnaise. The key ingredients. You may think making mayonnaise is just about tossing a few ingredients into a bowl and giving it a good stir. But when it comes to Best Foods mayonnaise, it's a totally different story. It all begins with ingredients, and not just any random ones. We're talking about top-notch stuff. The real MVPs are soybean oil, whole eggs, vinegar, water, salt, and lemon juice concentrate. That's it. No weird chemicals or mystery powders hiding in the back. Just clean, real ingredients. But here's the thing, every single one of them has to be super fresh. Best Foods doesn't play around when it comes to freshness. For example, the eggs, they don't use powdered eggs or frozen ones. Only real whole eggs make the cut. These eggs are delivered to the factory in huge chilled containers, and trained workers inspect every batch. If even one egg looks strange or smells a bit off, they send the whole batch packing. The same goes for the oil. They check it for clarity, smell, and even how it feels between your fingers. If it doesn't meet the factory's high standards, it never goes into the mayo. And don't think they're just eyeballing it. They use machines that scan the ingredients and run tests in special rooms that look like science labs. They're checking for bacteria, texture, temperature, and even the exact amount of acid. If something is even a little off, the system throws up a big red flag. Once the ingredients pass the test, they go into giant stainless steel tanks. These tanks are so big, you could probably fit a small car in one. Some are used for holding eggs, others for oil, and some keep vinegar and water chilled until it's time to mix. The tanks are sealed up tight to keep germs out, and the temperature is controlled by computers 24/7. But here's something cool. Even the salt gets treated like royalty. It's measured down to the tiniest grain because too much or too little could mess up the whole batch. And the lemon juice concentrate, it gets pumped in using high-pressure lines to make sure every drop is perfect. So yeah, it might look simple on the label, but behind the scenes, it's like a well-choreographed dance. Every ingredient enters the stage at just the right time, and if anything's out of place, the show stops. That's how serious Best Foods is about starting things off the right way. Mixing it all up. Alright, now that the ingredients are ready to go, it's time for the mixing to begin. This part is like watching a super fast science experiment mixed with a cooking show on turbo speed. You got massive mixing machines, sharp spinning blades, and enough power to blend hundreds of gallons at once. This is where oil and eggs turn into that creamy spread you know and love. The process starts when the ingredients are pumped from those huge tanks into the mixing chambers. These are large metal machines that kinda look like shiny washing machines, but with way more power. Inside there are blades spinning so fast you can't even see them. These blades whip the oil and eggs together into something called an emulsion. Basically, it means two things that don't normally mix start acting like best friends. If you've ever tried to mix oil and water at home and saw it separate, you'll get why this part is so impressive. Here's the trick. The egg acts like little glue guys, helping the oil and water-based parts stick together. Without them, you'd just have a weird running mess. But with just the right speed, temperature, and pressure, everything blends into that smooth mayo texture we all know. Next up, vinegar and lemon juice get added. These two bring that zing. They give Best Foods mayo that tangy bite that makes sandwiches taste way better. The machine adds them slowly while the blades keep spinning. If they dump it in too fast, the whole mix can fall apart. It's a total balancing act. But here's the really cool part. The machines have smart sensors that act like little taste testers. They check the thickness, smoothness, and even the shine of the mayo. If something is off by even a little bit, the machine will either slow down or speed up to fix it. Think of it like a robot chef that doesn't mess up your recipe. While all of this is happening, the mix also gets chilled. The mayo has to stay cooled so it keeps its texture and doesn't spoil. Cold water lines run down the mixing tank like a jacket, making sure everything stays at just the right temperature. Too warm and it could go bad. Too cold and it might get too thick. So yeah, mixing mayo isn't just stirring a bowl. It's a wild ride of spinning blades, secret science, and flavor checks. And it all happens in minutes. Pretty amazing for something that ends up on your burger, right? The human testers. Now, you may think robots do everything in a mayonnaise factory, but not so fast. Best Foods actually has real human beings who taste test the mayo every single day. And no, they don't just take 1 or 2 bites and call it a day. We're talking about a full team of trained testers who check hundreds of samples daily. Their mission is simple, but serious. Make sure every spoonful tastes just like the last one. Smooth, creamy, and perfectly tangy. These testers use tiny plastic spoons, and they don't just go off taste alone. They check the smell, the texture, and even the way the mayo feels on the tongues. Sounds weird, right? But it's a real science. Mayo can't be too sour or too bland. It has to hit the flavor sweet spot every single time. If the mayo feels grainy, smells a little bit off, or just tastes even slightly different than usual, they throw out the whole batch. Yep, thousands of jars gone. Just like that. You may think anyone can do this job, but it's not as easy as grabbing a spoon and taking a bite. Some of these testers train for months before they're allowed to approve a batch. They go through flavor training. Yeah, that's a thing. They practice tasting small changes in ingredients. A little more lemon, a little less vinegar. They learn to spot those tiny differences like pros. The mayo testing room is quiet, focused, and almost feels like a science lab. Some testers sit in their own little booths with lights above them to help them see every detail. They fill out forms for every sample, check off boxes for flavor, thickness, shine, and even the smell strength. Nothing gets past them. And here's something wild. These testers can actually get their taste buds tired if they taste too many samples too fast. So they have special ways to cleanse their palates, like drinking water or nibbling on crackers between spoons. It helps them stay sharp so their tongues don't get lazy. In case you didn't know, Best Foods does this because they care more about taste than shortcuts. They want every jar to taste like the one before it. No surprises, no guessing, just the same rich, creamy bite you expect when you open the lid. So the next time you dip your fries or spread it on a burger, remember, someone's trained tongue approved that flavor for you. That's next level dedication. Bottling and shipping. Once the mayo passes the ultimate taste test, it doesn't sit around waiting. It jumps straight into action and enters the bottling zone, where things really speed up. Picture this. You've got rows of plastic jars moving down a conveyor belt so fast it looks like a blur. The machines fill up to 600 jars every single minute. That's faster than most people can tie their shoes. The filling machines are super precise. They make sure each jar gets the exact right amount of mayo. Not too full, not too low, just right. Then boom! The lid drops down from above, spins tight, and seals the jar so nothing spills. You'd think the machines would make a mess, but they don't. Everything runs like a smooth dance. Fast, clean, and perfect. After sealing, the jars move down the line to get their famous blue label. The label slaps on in just a second. And if one jar ends up crooked or missing a label, a little robot arm swipes it off the line like it never existed. No mistakes allowed. Now here's where it gets even cooler. Giant robot arms pick up the jars and place them into big boxes. Each box gets packed with the same speed and care. Then the boxes move onto a bigger belt that takes them to a stacking area. Picture robots stacking boxes like a giant game of Tetris. It's oddly satisfying to watch. Then it's time to go. Trucks back up to the loading dock, and those boxes go straight from the factory to stores all over the country. In just a few days, the mayo goes from giant mixing tanks to sitting on a shelf at your local grocery store, waiting for someone to grab it. That someone could be you. But here's the part that surprises most people. This whole place is spotless. No mayo blobs on the floor, no messy jars. The factory gets cleaned every single day. Workers wear special uniforms that keep germs out. Everyone wears hairnets, gloves, and even boot covers. Some zones use air showers to blow off any dirt or dust from the workers before they walk in. It's like something out of a science fiction movie. Best Foods doesn't joke around when it comes to hygiene. They follow food safety rules that are stricter than you'd believe. Every machine gets checked, every bottle gets scanned, and every step gets watched to make sure nothing goes wrong. So when that mayo hits your sandwich, you can trust it came from a place where clean and careful are the main rules. Now, in case you didn't know, Best Foods didn't always make mayo in a giant fancy factory. It started in a tiny shop back in the early 1900s. A guy named Richard Hellman sold his homemade mayo in jars with blue ribbons on them. People loved it so much, it grew into the Best Foods brand we know today. And even now, they still use that same blue ribbon symbol to show it's the real deal. With that said, head to the comments and let us know what you think about the production process. And if you'd like to know more about how your favorite brands are made from scratch, hit the subscribe button and we'll see you in the next one.